Hello everyone, welcome again to online session of Manolaw classes. I am Dinesh Kumar and I am former assistant professor of law at Campus Law Center Law Faculty, Delhi University, and presently I am working as an academic head of Manolaw classes. So dear students, in today's session I will discuss with you LA questions of the month. In this today's session I will discuss with you one legal passage followed by the 5 questions, and 3 questions will be based upon the IELTS pattern. But before moving to the discussion part, there is an important announcement for all of you. Admissions are open at Manolaw classes for upcoming batch of 2022 and 2023 for CLAT and IELTS and other law entrance examination. All of you may get yourself enrolled with us for getting the best result. For more information, you can dial on the given number on screen, that is 9971 444 054. Dear students, we at Manolaw classes are also providing 15 days free trial to all the aspirants of law entrance examination, and in these 15 days free trial you will get the following benefits. Number 1, you will get the live classes with one-to-one interaction. Number 2, you will get various recorded conceptual lectures on various topics. Number 3, you will get various topic tests, and number 4, you will get various sectional tests, and at last we will provide you the analysis of your performance, and this analysis will be done by our team of experts. For availing the benefit of this facility, you need to do the following activities. Number 1, first of all, you should find the link in the description below. Then you should locate the sign up for 15 days free trial. Then you should fill the form available there, and you will be eligible to take the benefit of this facility. So dear students, in the first part I will discuss with you one legal passage that is on the screen, and this legal passage has 5 important questions from your examination point of view. You may read this legal passage. So basically this legal passage is about the different kinds of void agreement. For example, the void ab initio agreement. So the agreement which is known as void ab initio, such kind of agreement are found in the case of minor. So honorable court in the case of Mohri Bibi versus Dharmodas Ghosh gave the decision in which the honorable court held that the agreement with minor is void ab initio. Second category is the void agreement. So void agreement means an agreement which is not enforceable by law. Means for declaring any agreement void, we need not to go to the court because it is void, and it means it cannot be enforced through the court of law. Third kind of agreement are voidable contract. Means voidable contract are those agreement which are enforceable at the option of one party whose consent was not free, as per the provisions given from section 14 to 20 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Now you read this passage or this slide carefully. You must be habitual of reading the passage very quickly, because in your examination you will be only given 24 minutes to solve 8 passages followed by 39 questions in your CLAT examination. So this legal passage has been taken from the landmark judgment of Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Dhurandhar Prasad Singh versus Jay Prakash University, dated 24th July 2001, and this is related to the decision of Honorable Supreme Court. Now we move to the first question of the passage, and the first question has two parts. One is the assertion and second is the reason behind this particular assertion. So in these kind of questions you will find statement number 1, this is called assertion, and you will find the second reason. We have to find that whether the reason is according to the assertion or not, or whether reason correctly explain the reason behind the assertion or not. So now we come to the question. Assertion: any agreement which is void ab initio can be disregarded in collateral proceedings. Means if there are two kinds of proceedings and one proceedings may be void and the other proceeding may be related to the void ab initio. So there is a difference between void ab and void ab initio. Means in the void ab initio, agreement is void from the very beginning, but as far as the void agreement are concerned, agreement may not be void from the very beginning. So as per the statement or assertion, any agreement which is void ab initio can be disregarded in the collateral proceeding. So means अगर किसी proceeding में agreement void ab initio है, then इसको disregard किया जा सकता है किसी collateral proceedings में. So collateral proceedings are proceeding which are associated with any other kind of proceeding or any other kind of agreement. Now we move to the reason. Reason is that law does not take notice of void act. So the reason is that law void act का notice नहीं करती, or we can say that the law does not consider the void agreements. So there are 5 options in your question. Number 1, both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Number 2, both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Number 3, A is true, R is false. Number 4, R is true but A is false. And number 5, that is E, none of the above. So basically if we go or if we read the question carefully, so the assertion is saying that any agreement which is void ab initio can be disregarded. Disregarded means law will not take account of it. Disregarded here means law will not take account of it. Similarly, the reason is providing that law does not take notice or does not take account of void act. So as per the question, option number A is the correct because reason is according to the assertion. Now we come to second question. In second question, Neeraj out of natural love and affection promises his son Dheeraj give him his brand new BMW car for no consideration. So basically in the question number 2, there are two parties. Neeraj is the father and Dheeraj is the son, and Neeraj promises to his son Dheeraj that he will give him his brand new car on the basis of natural love and affection. Neeraj puts this promise into writing. Neeraj is promise means promise to give the car. इसको writing में करता है and register it. The promise between Neeraj and Dheeraj is, so in this case there are two parties, one is father, other is son, and father makes promise to his son that he would give him a brand new car BMW for no consideration. Means there is no consideration from the side of Dheeraj in this given case. इस केस में धीरज की तरफ से कोई भी कंसिडरेशन नहीं है, लेकिन एग्रीमेंट जो है, एग्रीमेंट इज इन राइटिंग एंड इट इज on the basis of natural love and affection. So now examiner is asking from all of you that the promise between Neeraj and Dheeraj is, so what will be the nature or what is the nature of promise between the Neeraj and Dheeraj? So there are 5 options again before you, and option number 1 is it is void agreement. Second, it is voidable agreement. Third, it is just a promise and not a contract. And fourth, it is a contract. And fifth, none of the above. Now there are 5 options before you and you have to give the correct answer. So as per the question, the correct answer is contract. Why it is contract? Because if you will read section 25 clause 1, if you will read section 25 clause 1 of ICA, means Indian Contract Act, then you will find the answer of this question there. So correct answer is D, means it will be a contract. Now we come to question number 3, and in question number 3 examiner is asking which of the following agreements are void as per the Indian Contract Act, means कौन से agreement voids होंगे as per the Indian Contract Act. So there are 4 options before you, and option number 1 is agreement in restraint of trade. So agreement in restraint of trade is whether void or voidable. Second, agreement in restraint of marriage, agreement in restraint of legal proceeding, and wagering agreement. So now there are again 5 options before you, whether 1 and 4 are void agreement, whether 1, 2, 3, 4 are void agreement, whether 3 and 4 are void agreement, or whether only 4 is a void agreement. So basically, if you have gone through the Indian Contract Act carefully, then you will find that this option B is the correct. Why the option B is correct? Because this first agreement in restraint of trade is void by virtue of section 27. Agreement in restraint of marriage is void by virtue of section 26. Agreement in restraint of legal proceeding is void by virtue of section 28, and wagering agreement are void by virtue of section 30 of Indian Contract Act. So the correct option is B, means all are void agreement. Now we come to question number 4. Ram and Shyam are good friends. Ram offers to Shyam to buy his cow. तो राम और श्याम दोनों आपस में अच्छे फ्रेंड हैं, एंड राम ऑफर्स श्याम टू बाय हिज कार, मीन्स राम उसकी कार को खरीदना चाहता है. श्याम हु हैड ए हेल्दी एंड हाई क्वालिटी मिल्क प्रोड्यूसिंग काव हेजिटेटेड एंड टोल्ड राम दैट काव इज वर्थ ऑफ 10,000. तो बेसिकली राम wants to buy the cow in ₹20, but Shyam says that the value of cow is ₹10,000. But what happened? After the negotiation, Shyam agrees to sell his cow for ₹40 to Ram. तो बाद में श्याम 40 रुपीज़ में अपनी उसकी कार को बेचने के लिए एग्री हो जाता है. Now Shyam repudiates the agreement and denies that his consent was freely given. So earlier he becomes agree to sell his cow to Ram, but subsequently he denies or he repudiates the agreement on the ground that his consent was not free. So now there are 5 options again before you. So now there are 5 options again before you, and the option number 1, agreement is valid as Shyam consent was freely given when he agreed to sell his cow at first. Second, agreement is valid as Ram and Shyam are good friend. तो सेकेंड ऑप्शन कहता है कि एग्रीमेंट दोनों के बीच में वैलिड है क्योंकि वो गुड फ्रेंड है. थर्ड, agreement should be declared as void taking into account that there might not be free consent because of inadequate consideration. And fourth, agreement between Ram and Shyam is void because selling a cow is inhuman. So, and last one is none of the above. So correct option is C. And why the C is correct option? So basically, if the value of cow was 10,000 rupees and he agrees to sell this in 40 rupees, so agreement will be a contract and inadequacy of consideration does not affect the validity of contract. But there is a provision in section 25 explanation 1 section 25 of Indian Contract Act explanation 1, which provides that adequacy of consideration is not necessary, but court may take into account the fact that whether the consent of the party were freely given or not. So in this case, since Shyam repudiated the agreement on the ground that his consent was not freely given. So it will not be or it can be declared as a void agreement. ठीक है, and because the consideration was inadequate. So if the consideration is inadequate, it may lead to the ground of the void agreement between the parties. But if the consent was free, then it will be a valid contract. But since in this case or in this question, Shyam himself has raised the ground that his consent was not free, so this fact will be taken into consideration by the Honorable Court. Now we come to question number 5. As per section 29 of Indian Contract Act, which of the following agreements are not void on the basis of uncertainty? So basically section 29 of Indian Contract Act provides for the various grounds on the basis of which an agreement can be declared as void on the basis of uncertainty. Uncertainty means जिसकी term and condition clear नहीं है. So examiner has given 5 options to you and you have to find that which of the situation or which of the option is not void because of uncertainty. So we come to option number 1. A agrees to sell B 100 kg of road material. So A agree to sell B 100 kg of road material. So this road material is a vague term and not clear, so it will be void. Second, X agree to sell Y his white car either of rupees 500 or 5000. So there are 2 prices, so not certainty. Third, P agree to sell Q all his property. So this all his property is a certain. तो इसमें सेक्शन 29 की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या होती है? देर आर 2 रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ सेक्शन 29. ईदर द प्रॉपर्टी और थिंग मस्ट बी सर्टेन or it must be capable of being made certain. Since he agreed to sell his all property, so it is capable of being made certain and to an amount to be fixed by R. So whatever amount will be fixed by R, in that amount P will sell his property to Q. So option D is the correct one, and according to option D, it will not be a void agreement, rather it will be a contract between the parties. So now we will come to the IELTS based questions, and question number 1 is, as per the principle of question number 1, a minor is not competent to contract, means minor a contract नहीं कर सकता. Factual situation, Deepak, a 10th standard student, realized that he is being a minor, he is not permitted by law to execute a contract. So दीपक एक बच्चा है जिसकी एज 10th स्टैंडर्ड में स्टडी करता है वो, and he thinks that he is not permitted by law to execute a contract. He appoints Mandeep as his agent to conclude purchase of a land to gift it to his mother. So basically Deepak, since he is a minor, he cannot conclude a contract or he cannot enter into a contract. So he appoints Mandeep as his agent, that on his behalf Mandeep will conclude a contract. And this contract is regarding the purchase of a land which Deepak wants to give as a gift to his mother. Now Mandeep accordingly prepared the paper for the transaction, but at the last minute the seller who had agreed to sell it now refuses to sell it, contending that he does not wish to sell the land to a minor. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर earlier जो seller है he becomes agree, but subsequently he does not become agree or he denied to sell his land to the minor. Now Deepak wants to bring action against the seller for the breach of contract because he repudiated the contract. So now you have to tell me whether Deepak would be entitled to bring action against the seller or not. So there are 4 options before you. First, Deepak can enforce contract since Mandeep is his agent. Deepak is deemed to have personally entered into a contract. So ये नहीं होगा. Deepak cannot enforce the contract, only Mandeep can enforce the contract. तो ये कहता, सेकंड ऑप्शन कहता है कि दीपक नहीं कर सकता बट मनदीप कर सकता है. थर्ड, दीपक कैन नॉट एनफोर्स द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, ही इज ए माइनर. तो ये भी गलत है. क्यों? क्योंकि दिस एग्रीमेंट विद माइनर इज वॉइड एब इन इश्यू. नेक्स्ट, Deepak can neither appoint an agent nor enforce the contract. So this is the correct answer. Basically, a minor person cannot appoint an agent, and he can also not conclude a contract, or he can also not enter into a contract. Now we come to question number 2, and the principle of question number 2 is, nothing is an offense which is done by a person who at the time of doing it is by reason of the intoxication incapable of knowing the nature of the act, or that he is doing what is either wrong or contrary to law, provided that the thing which intoxicated him was administered to him without his knowledge or against his will. So two facts are very important here. Means if a person has taken some intoxicating substance, and after taking that intoxicating substance he is not able to know the nature of his act or the consequences of his act, then he would not be criminally liable for the same act. But this intoxicated fact must have been given to him without his knowledge or against his will. So there are two important points here. Means intoxicating substance must have been given to him without his knowledge or against his will. Now we come to the factual situation. Anshul was having a get together with his old friend. तो अंशुल अपने ओल्ड फ्रेंड के साथ गेट टुगेदर कर रहा था, एंड ऑन हिज फ्रेंड सजेशन. सो दिस वर्ड इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू डिसाइड द लायबिलिटी ऑफ अंशुल. ऑन हिज फ्रेंड सजेशन, अपने फ्रेंड के सजेशन पर, ही कंज्यूम सम एल्कोहल. ऑन हिज वे बैक टू होम एट नाइट, अंशुल हर्ड सम फुट स्टेप एंड टर्निंग बैक ही इमेजिन्ड ए फिगर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स हिम. तो जैसे ही वो उसने फुट स्टेप की कुछ आवाज़ सुनी और उसने बैक मुड़ के देखा, तो उसने लगा कि कोई फिगर उसके पीछे चल रही है विद ए स्पीयर, जिसके हाथ में कुछ वेपन था. इनफैक्ट इट वाज ओनली अ मैन. लेकिन अंशुल को लगा कि वो फिगर है, लेकिन वास्तव में ये कोई पर्सन था और जिसका नाम था भारत. विद एन अम्ब्रेला हु वाज टेलिंग अंशुल टू वॉक केयरफुली सिंस अंशुल अपीयर टू बी अनस्टेडी. तो बेसिकली भारत वांटेड टू टेल अंशुल दैट यू शुड वॉक केयरफुली, क्योंकि भारत को ऐसा लगा कि वो प्रॉपरली नहीं चल पा रहा था. हाउएवर अंशुल प्रोसीडेड टू अटैक भारत विद एन आयरन रोड लीडिंग टू द ग्रेव इंजरी टू भारत. लेकिन अंशुल ने भारत को ग्रेव इंजरी कर दी और उसके रोड से उस पर अटैक कर दिया. इज अंशुल गिल्टी ऑफ कॉजिंग ग्रीवियस हर्ट टू भारत. सो क्या अंशुल इन गिवन फैक्चुअल सिचुएशन में भारत को ग्रेवियस हार्ट या ग्रेवियस इंजरी काउज करने के लिए लाइबल होगा? सो अगेन देयर आर 4 ऑप्शंस बिफोर यू. नंबर 1, नो अंशुल इज नॉट गिल्टी बिकॉज इज इंटॉक्सिकेटेड बिकॉज इन हिज इंटॉक्सिकेटेड स्टेट द अम्ब्रेला अपीयर्ड ए स्पेयर टू हिम एंड ही एक्सरसाइज हिज राइट टू प्राइवेट डिफेंस. तो पहला ऑप्शन कहता है कि अंशुल लाइबल नहीं होगा. सेकेंड, नो अंशुल इज नॉट गिल्टी बिकॉज भारत कुड हैव अटैक्ड अंशुल विद हिज अम्ब्रेला. अंशुल गिल्टी नहीं है क्योंकि भारत अंशुल पर अम्ब्रेला से अटैक कर सकता था. थर्ड, नो अंशुल इज नॉट गिल्टी बिकॉज ही वॉज इंटॉक्सिकेटेड ऑन द सजेशन ऑफ हिज फ्रेंड. थर्ड कहता है कि अंशुल गिल्टी नहीं है क्योंकि उसने इंटॉक्सिकेटिंग सब्सटेंस ले रखा था, एंड दैट सब्सटेंस ही इज टेकन ऑन द सजेशन ऑफ हिज फ्रेंड. फोर्थ इज द अंशुल इज गिल्टी बिकॉज ही गॉट इंटॉक्सिकेटेड वॉलेंटरली and under the effect of voluntary intoxication he attacked and caused grievous injury to Bharat who posed no threat to him. So D will be the correct option. Why the D will be the correct option? If you see in the given principle, if the intoxicating substance was not caused to him without his knowledge or against his will, it means that he has taken the intoxicating substance voluntarily, and for the voluntary act he would be liable as per section 86 ऑफ आईपीसी. तो सेक्शन 86 आईपीसी के हिसाब से वो लाइबल होगा. नाउ वी कम टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, एंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल विल रीड द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ इट. Whoever desire any court to give judgment about any legal right or liability which depend on the existence of those facts which he assert must prove that these facts exist. Means जो पर्सन ये चाहता है कि कोर्ट से कि कोर्ट उसके फेवर में डिसीजन दे किसी लाइबिलिटी के बेसिस पर या किसी राइट के बेसिस पर, देन ही मस्ट प्रूव दैट सच राइट और सच लाइबिलिटी एग्जिस्ट. तो बर्डन ऑफ प्रूव उसी पर्सन पर होता है. नाउ वी कम टू द फैक्चुअल सिचुएशन. A assert that B, C, D have committed an offense of criminal conspiracy. So A कोर्ट में ये इस बात को assert करता है कि B, C, D ने criminal conspiracy की है, and therefore A desires a court to give judgment that B, C, D shall be punished for that crime. तो A कोर्ट से इच्छा करता है कि कोर्ट B, C, D को क्रिमिनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी के लिए पनिश करे. Which A says B, C, D have committed. तो A कहता है कि B, C, D has committed a criminal conspiracy and court should punish B, C, D for the offense of criminal conspiracy. Upon whom the burden of proof shall lie in the given factual situation. तो इस सिचुएशन पे burden of proof किस पर होगा? तो A must prove that B, C, D have committed crime, पहला ऑप्शन. Second, B, C, D must prove that they have not committed the crime. सेकेंड ऑप्शन कहता है कि बी सी डी को प्रूव करना पड़ेगा उन्होंने कोई क्रिमिनल ऑफेंस नहीं किया है. थर्ड कहता है ए मस्ट प्रूव दैट बी सी डी वर प्रेजेंट एट द प्लेस ऑफ क्राइम. ए को प्रूव करना पड़ेगा वो प्लेस ऑफ क्राइम पर था. पुलिस मस्ट प्रूव दैट बी सी डी हैव कमिटेड द क्राइम. तो पुलिस को प्रूव करना पड़ेगा. So basically, as per the given principle, the burden of proof will be lies upon A, and the correct option will be A. Why the correct option will be A? Because as per the given principle, जो इस बात को asserts करता है कि who has wants that the honorable court should give the justice in a particular case as per the desire of that person, then the burden of proof lies upon that person. So in the given factual situation, since A wants that court should punish BCD for the offense of criminal conspiracy, so the burden of proof will lie upon A in the given factual situation. My dear students, these are the answer key with explanation. This is the answer key of IELTS questions. So that's all for today. I will come again with the next month LA questions. Till then, please take care of yourself. Thank you very much. Goodbye.